Welcome into the Next Man Up Injury Podcast, where we like to discuss the various NFL injuries that might affect your fantasy teams coming into this week. I'm Matt, aka at Fantasy Ferret on Twitter, and I'm with Richmond tonight. Richmond, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Been missing this for a few weeks, but I'm glad I was finally able to make it on.
Yep. We're still not full strength here. Seems every week we're missing two, but that's okay. We're going strong. So, Richmond, why don't you tell everyone what you do for a living?
I'm a physical therapist working in pediatric sports medicine. So working down here in Virginia, um, see any kind of injuries that kids from middle school to high school to college age might come about. A lot of ACL, a lot of concussions, a lot of different kind of surgeries. Baseball players are a big one that I see also. Yeah, just gonna carry this while Matt's attending to business. And we're back.
I'm back. I can edit that later. The dogs decided to not be able to handle not barking throughout the podcast. They made it approximately a minute and 30 seconds. So, good on them. Anyway, so yeah, Richmond, you're a physical therapist. That's pretty cool. Um, I'm an athletic trainer myself, so I deal with like the sports medicine side of everything, more on the sidelines for our local high school team in here in Texas. So it's fun. It's fun. But how are your fantasy teams doing?
Very middle of the road currently. I'm either I'm mostly like either 2-1 or 1-2. Um, so no dominating performances. The one I'm most proud of is my work league, where I've come in last the last 2 years, um, and they make fun of me for it every day. So I put up the most points in the league last week, and I made sure everybody knew it.
Now, who is on that team for you?
That is, I think that's an odd team. I have Jamar Chase on that team. Zach Moss is on that team. I honestly don't know how I did this. My quarterback is Tua.
Very nice.
I have Ken Walker, um, Christian Kirk, Hawkinson. Waddell was there, but didn't play last week for me. So it was it was a very like ragtag bunch. I have Jonathan Taylor
Very nice. Of
waiting in the
course.
wings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Me and Eric, we share a team in this charity league we're in. Well, share a team. We both have two separate teams, but we're on one team, if that
yeah,
makes sense. Anyway, we have Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor. We had Aaron Rodgers. And somehow we're piecing together wins, and it's working out so far. So we'll see how that continues. But anyway, let's get into the injuries. We have some returners this week. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but we can spend a little bit of time on these. Bryce Young missed last week. He's been a full participant all this week, so no real concern there. He's probably back at it.
yeah,
Most people probably aren't playing Bryce Young anyway.
yeah. I mean, I would say the biggest impact there would be DJ Shark and Dalton. Dalton had a pretty good connection there. So uh, Shark's
Yeah,
resurgence was due to Dalton, or if he can keep that up with
yeah,
Bryce
and
Young.
Adam Thielen had a heck of a
Yeah,
game last week
and
too.
and
So,
Thielen obviously too. Yeah,
we'll see. Who knows? Joe Burrow, who has just had this nagging calf injury since like the beginning of training camp. He's been listed as a full participant, but I'm still concerned because he has not looked good.
yeah, hasn't looked good. Last game was better, which I think was more of them scheming Jamar Chase back into the every down role possibly. But I think Burrow essentially said like he had to just do what he has to do to get these wins and not start off 0-3.
Yeah, no doubt. when in doubt, get the ball to Jamar Chase. Seems like a good game plan. Anthony Richardson looks to be back from his concussion, full participant the last 2 days.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to really say much there. Jalen Waddle for sure back from his concussion. They've already announced that he's gone
Should
through
be good to
concussion
go.
protocol and he's out of it now. I know there were certain Twitter people that were saying when he had a limited practice on Friday that, oh, he's going to play on Sunday or there's a chance.
Yeah.
But as we've discussed on this, like it's really it's a 5-day process. And as we'll mention later, we've never really seen anyone, especially since the Tua incident last year,
Yeah.
never seen anyone that didn't practice on Wednesday then play on Sunday.
Yes.
Now, we have one later that might test our theory on that, so we'll get there. Moving on, Brandon Ayuk had this shoulder injury. I believe he was a limited participant last week and then missed the Thursday night game. Limited again this week. Seems to be an AC sprain, which makes it pretty hard to raise your arms above your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we
I think
thinking
that'd
here?
be. I lean towards him probably being back this week, and again, like we're gonna get to later, he was out of the non-contact jersey today, so that seemed like it was a good sign for him.
Yeah, very
To
good.
not be in the non-contact jersey. So I would lean towards him playing, especially as we'll talk about later, the Devo news with his potential stuff. I think Brandon Ayuk might be a good option there if he ends up being a top option for the 49ers.
Yeah, I know coming into the year, everyone was worried that, Ayuk, Debo, George Kittle, they all eat into each other. But as it turns out, usually one of them is missing a game. So it's really only 2 of them per game, and you just play them. It makes it really easy.
Yeah, if they're in, they're going and they're scoring points. I mean,
yeah. So, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes over there in San Francisco. And then the other return, Eckler. Does he make his return this week from this ankle injury that's kept him out the past 2 weeks?
I don't know. I lean towards saying that he's practiced the last 2 days, so that hopefully he plays. I mean, most time, if you're going to practice both days, but I think there's been the past where Eckler's been looking like he was going to play, and then he's been held out, like previous seasons where it's like, oh, he's actually going to sit out like another week. So I think it might be hard to say for him whether practicing these days means he's going to actually play or not.
Yeah, for me, I believe they're a bye week next week, which leads me to think they don't play him.
Yeah.
Give him that extra week with the bye. We just see that so often.
Yeah.
In the NFL when that bye week is there that they do that. Now, that's not a guarantee, but I that's what I would do if I was the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on how they feel about where they're at in their season.
Right. Now, obviously, if he's fully healthy, he's fully healthy and you play him, but
yeah. I mean, they're playing the Raiders, so I guess it kind of could swing either way. They're a 1-2 team playing a game that they should be able to win. So I guess it depends on their confidence and their ability to play the Raiders, potentially.
I mean, the Chargers, they really like to score points. The problem is they like for both teams to score points. So,
yeah.
I mean, DFS stack maybe? That's what I'm doing, but we'll see. So now let's move on to some limited participants this week. I'm not overly concerned about any of these, so I'm probably just going to kind of fire them off, and we don't really have to talk about them except for one, which I will mention when we get to him. But Marquise Brown popped up today with as a limited participant with a thumb. Not overly concerned. Deshaun Watson's been a limited participant all week with a shoulder injury. Not overly concerned. Jerry Jeudy with a knee. Now, here's the one I kind of really want to talk about. Traylon Burks,
Yeah.
who had a knee issue in training camp. I think it was a sprained LCL, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Now dealing with another knee injury, was a limited participant Wednesday and then a non-participant today, Thursday. That scares me.
Yeah. To go down during the week.
Going down, I like them to stay the same or go up. I don't like to go down. Now
Yeah.
saying that, maybe they were just trying to give him rest day. Wednesday was just to see how it felt, and then give him a rest Thursday, and then
Yeah.
keep an eye on the practice report for Friday. But
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
concerned about that one.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you're right. You could look at it as maybe he practiced the 1 day limited and they were like, let's just hold off, make sure you're healthy for the game this weekend. Um, Titans are kind of a team in crisis, I
They're
think.
kind of a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah. I mean, he has no quarterback. They aren't feeding King Henry. What are they doing out there?
Not winning games, that's for sure.
They have two they have two early drafted quarterbacks who are backups, including the one they most recently drafted being the backup to the one they drafted the year previously.
Yeah, it's almost like
They don't
maybe
know what they're
don't
doing.
draft second and third round QBs. And
Of
but
questionable backgrounds.
what do I know? I'm just the guy that works for a high school that does an injury podcast. So, anyway, Logan Thomas looks like he's gonna clear concussion protocol. Been quietly good as a tight end this year for Washington.
Yeah,
He was a full participant today, so probably I
likely good to
expect
go.
he plays. Jonathan Mingo coming off concussion was a limited participant Wednesday, Thursday. Typically, the way that tracks is a full participant Friday, and then they play on Sunday.
Yep.
So, only way I'd be concerned is if you're a limited participant again Friday. Let's see. Miles Sanders still kind of dealing with this groin injury, but limited participant, play through it.
Yeah, likely to play, I'd say, for him. I
Tony
mean, a
Pollard,
groin is lingering.
yeah, which soft tissue injury makes sense. It's going to linger a
Yeah.
little bit. Tony Pollard popped up today, but they listed it as a non-injury. Guess he had a cold or something. I don't know. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Your boy, Kadarius Toney.
There's Tony.
It's your man. Limited participant Wednesday and Thursday with his toe. So does he return and does he finally do something?
I mean, his whole game plan is that he's just a threat. But I mean, sometimes it's a threat and not realized. So I guess I'd say it's hard to say for him. I mean, if he plays, Mahomes likes to give him the ball. Sometimes Tony catches it. Sometimes he gives it to the other team. Sometimes it ends up on the ground. So
Stone hands Tony.
yeah,
It is what it is. So
I think they just need to hand off the ball to him would maybe be the better option. I mean, that way less likely to drop it or throw it to the other team as he's done.
true. Gosh. It has not been a great start to his career.
I mean, maybe Taylor has some suggestions. Like, I don't think we can go this episode podcast without mentioning Taylor Swift. So we can fit in with the rest of the football world.
Oh, I know, because we got to discuss it for 30 minutes. I was listening
does
to
this
fantasy
affect-
radio, and I'm like, guys, yes, I get it. Taylor Swift was at the game. Let's move on. So we will move on.
Yes.
Saquon Barkley, limited participant today with this high ankle sprain that he had. He divulged that it was a high ankle.
Yeah.
And so limited participant's a good sign, but it is a Monday night game. So taking a little bit of risk there by waiting and seeing.
Waiting it out. And his backups are not anybody you want to play.
No.
So it's not like we can wait and see if we want to put in Matt Breida or
No.
who else they have. I can't remember who the other guy is.
Gary Brightwell.
Brightwell.
Come
Yeah.
on. How can you
Seeing
forget
like
him?
I think Wayne Gallman's not been there for a few years, but that name popped in my mind.
He definitely used to be there. I have no idea if he's
At
still
some
there.
point, he was there.
He might still be there. Who knows?
So, Wayne, I'm sorry if you're still
Sorry,
there.
Wayne, if you happen to check out this pod, we're not trying to be mean. You still outdo our bank account, so
Yeah, and at least I remembered it.
yeah. Well, that pretty much does it for the limited participants. Then we're gonna move on to the non-participants today. And we're gonna spend a little bit of time here, especially with the Ravens at first, as their starting running back and at least 2 out of the 3 starting receivers are non-participants. Now, the running back was a limited participant today. He has a foot injury. That's Justice Hill.
Yeah.
But then Bateman and Odell Beckham were both non-participants Wednesday and Thursday. Odell with this ankle issue and Bateman with this hamstring issue. So for me, level of concern, obviously Bateman with that hamstring. Me no likey. Probably
Yeah.
then Odell with his ankles since he's still not practicing, then Justice Hill. But could this just open up Zay Flowers?
Open him up even more.
Open him up even more?
At,
So
at this point, Flowers is the one and only in the Ravens offense, I believe.
that's, I mean, besides Andrews, but
Well, Andrews, yes, but
receiver
yeah,
wise, yeah. But anyway,
Odell. Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this Bateman hamstring issue that's kind of popped up?
Um, I mean, I think this is exactly why I did not draft Rashad Bateman in a single league this year, because it's always something. Um, I feel like he always has something going on. What was it last year? Was it last year? Was it also hamstring, or it was his foot?
I know he had his foot issue. Maybe his first year was hamstring, but that just goes to show it's something every year. So
Yeah, last year he had what season-ending foot surgery. I
yeah,
think like he ended up going out for his foot. But yeah, I feel like it's been something with him every year that he has some form of injury. Um,
which sucks because the talent was there, but
yeah,
if you can't stay on the field, you can't stay on the field. So then Odell, speaking of someone that can't stay on the field lately, this ankle injury that's just, I guess, nagging him and still not participating in practice. Now, he's a seasoned veteran. He doesn't necessarily have to participate in practice to go out there and ball out,
yeah,
but we'd still like to see it, wouldn't we?
yeah. I'd give Odell a better shot at still playing without practicing um, than I would Bateman. But I would still be. I mean, older wide receiver, ankle injury. I would still be hesitant on having to rely on him, but I'd say there's a better chance that he would play through this than Rashad Bateman would.
Yeah, no, totally. And then Justice Hill looks on track to maybe get back out there this week.
Yeah.
So then DJ Shark, mentioned him earlier.
Yep.
He was a non-participant Wednesday, limited participant Thursday, but also listed as a non-injury.
Yeah.
So not overly concerned.
Yeah. I wouldn't be super concerned about that. I mean, a non-injury, like we said before. I mean, is that sickness? Is that we don't know.
Yeah, maybe feeling a little down today. I just need the day to.
Yeah.
So then we got Adam Thielen, also non-injury today. So maybe there's a little bit of a cold going around the Carolina Panthers facility.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they have their top three wide receivers are limited right now. I mean, Mingo was a concussion, obviously, but
Right.
the other two non. Maybe they, yeah.
So then I wanted to mention Amari Cooper, but I'm not too concerned. He was a non-participant on Wednesday, but then was off the report Thursday, so
Yeah.
not much there. Kareem Hunt's dealing with dude gets back into action one game for like 7 plays and hurts his ribs. What is this all about?
Yeah, I don't know on that one. I mean, maybe
Like, dude, it's football.
welcome back to the team. Here's a rib shot.
Yeah.
But I think he was practicing today.
Yeah,
So,
he was. He was a limited
I mean,
participant, but
yeah,
my goodness, man. Like, get it together. Then Zay Jones, non-participant Wednesday and Thursday with this knee.
yeah.
Doesn't look likely to play,
I don't think Zay Jones is going to end up playing.
which just makes the Jaguars' target share shrink even more. So
Yeah, yeah.
nothing really wrong with that.
I mean, it depends on if Calvin Ridley can catch this game or not. His drop touchdowns and first downs last game was
Yeah, not great.
hurting. As a Jaguars fan, it was hurting. As somebody who bought Calvin Ridley as much as he could, it was also hurting.
Well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, man.
Yeah,
But he's been okay this year.
yeah. I mean, he's done okay, but getting the ball in your hands in the end zone and then letting it go is not the way to do things.
No. And at the very least, they'll always have the training camp videos where it looks like he's moving in fast forward and everyone else is moving in slow motion. So he'll have that going for him at least.
Yeah, as long as you got the highlights.
Exactly. Training camp highlights. That's what it's all about. Gerald Everett, non-participant Wednesday and Thursday with an illness. Typically, I'm not too worried about illnesses, but
Yeah,
misses practice all week. That kind of concerns me.
yeah,
Because maybe it's more something like the flu or something like that.
yeah. The old vid is going around.
Oh, yeah, but NFL don't care about that no more. Remember, they got rid of that in the playoffs. What was it, the 2022 season?
Yeah,
They were like, you know what? No, we ain't doing this anymore. It's playoff time. They got the vid. They got the vid. It's fine. Ain't no worries. Another tight end, Tyler Higbee, dealing with an Achilles injury. Non-participant Wednesday, Thursday. So, I mean, obviously it's not a torn Achilles.
Yeah.
But is this just tightness? Is this a strain? Like, we don't have a whole lot of information to go.
Yeah, I couldn't really find much about that for him. Just that he's been missing practice with it. And again, I thought he was really going to eat a lot of targets with Cooper Kupp going out like he did at times before. But
yeah, but
new kid on the block in LA. Yeah.
Puka. I was listening to the fantasy footballers and someone submitted. They called him Puka na Cooper Kupp. I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, that's not far off either. Oh, then we made it to the concussion that will test our theory.
Yes.
So Jimmy Garoppolo went out of the game with concussion. Non-participant Wednesday. We've been saying since that Tua incident, we have not had a non-participant Wednesday that then played on Sunday. However, I don't think we've had anyone actually participate Thursday. So he might test our theory, and if he does indeed play Sunday, I think we got to change our theory a little bit to, well, as long as they're a limited participant on Thursday, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that could challenge our theory there. I think it could also challenge the Raiders fans on if they get to see O'Connell play or not.
Wow. Apparently, it's going to be Hoyer if Jimmy G is out. So
might as well play Jimmy G in that case.
Send him out there all concussed.
I think I'd rather see what Aiden O'Connell can do.
I mean,
with the Raiders. I mean, that might just be because I also have him on mini a taxi squad. But
Right. My personal feelings though is I don't think Jimmy G does play because it's still like I've looked it up. It's a 5-day protocol still,
yeah,
and so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday would be day 4.
yeah,
If it was a Monday night game,
yeah,
sure,
yep.
but
But otherwise, the math ain't math.
and now in the past before the Tua, I really do believe that teams were letting people clear protocol 2 days at a time and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But my
you
theory
did
is
this in the
that
morning practice, and you did this in the afternoon
right.
practice.
But my theory is that ever since that Tua incident, the NFL quietly cracked down on that.
Yeah,
I mean, I have no proof other than what we've seen since then
yeah,
with concussions. So I don't know. That's my theory. I'm sticking with it until Jimmy G proves me wrong this week. So we'll see.
yeah.
Former Raiders QB Derek Carr also on the injury report this week with an AC sprain. We've talked a little bit about that already. He was a non-participant Wednesday and Thursday. Looking like Jameis Winston starting because unfortunately it's also his throwing shoulder,
Yeah,
which just ruins your
throwing
ability to throw.
mechanics. Yeah,
And so if it was his non-throwing shoulder, he'd probably be out there this week.
yeah. I agree. I think non-throwing shoulder would be not much of a problem.
Right.
Throwing shoulder AC joint sprain, if it's severe enough, I mean that's
Right. I mean,
pretty
even
significant.
if they tried to give it a shot to numb it a little bit, it's still gonna affect you. Your body's not gonna let you like
Yeah.
raise your arm that often. So
No.
I bet we'll see about next week. He might return, but I bet it's at least 2 weeks before he's back, if I had to bet. And that's depending on severity.
Yeah. I agree
But
too. I mean, AC joint, QB, throwing shoulder. I mean, that's something you can't really fight through.
nope. Nope, unfortunately. Speaking of stuff that apparently people can't fight through, rib injuries in the NFL, which to be fair, it is a lot of times broken ribs, but they don't report
Yeah.
it as broken ribs.
Yeah.
So Deebo Samuel dealing with rib injury, non-participant Wednesday, Thursday. He returned to the game when the injury happened, but we kind of see that a lot
Yeah.
where take a shot to the ribs, it hurts for a second, I get up, adrenaline's going, then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
poop, this hurts.
Yeah. I feel it's pretty common, especially, I mean, keep playing with broken ribs potentially. I mean, you might feel okay for a little bit, but eventually it's gonna hit you.
And that's not to mention that San Francisco doesn't necessarily have a need to push someone through an injury right now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
As
one
we
of those.
said, they need 2 out of 3 pieces
All right.
to operate.
Ayuk's gonna probably be back this week. Kittle.
I guess 3 out of 4. Yeah, with Kittle
Oh, I know
thrown in there
because
too.
Christian McCaffrey's actually been, knock on wood, he stays healthy.
Yeah.
But a couple more here. We're kind of just knocking these out, man.
Yeah.
So Devontae Smith popped up today with an illness. Not overly concerned.
No.
Then another rib injury. This one's a Monday night game as well. So DK Metcalf, kind of the same thing as Debo.
Yeah.
Took a shot, played through it, then I guess wakes up the next day and it's like, oh crap, this hurts. But with him being a Monday night game, if you had DK on your team, and you might have him on some teams, I don't know, are you looking for other options?
I don't know because he played last week, right?
Right. I think this happened last week though, didn't it?
Yeah, I think he went into last week with rib injury.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and he
Oh,
didn't practice until Friday last week, and then ended up playing.
Oh
Um,
man,
so yeah, I think he's probably fine.
tough
I think
son of a gun.
I think he'll play. I mean, I can't imagine if he sat out till Friday last week and then played, and this week he's sitting out again. I imagine that he'll likely end up playing again.
Seems reasonable to me. I've got no counter argument. As long as they're not trying to give it a shot with Tyrod Taylor's doctor. I guess it was the Chargers doctor, but that was what a time to be alive that was.
That was that was a that was
Gave
a
Justin
great
Herbert his first start.
sad. Yeah, that was just an
So
all-time
yeah,
medical. I don't know, Twitter medical world day.
it was a fun day. My goodness. Oh man. That pretty much does it with any fantasy relevant people that I saw. Some O-line trouble that I noticed was my Cowboys, which they had a lot. They had like 2 or 3 linemen miss last game, and now everyone's still on the injury report. So I don't like
Yeah,
that as a Cowboys fan.
I can't imagine not.
But and then also 2 defenses I noticed that were beat up was Vikings, which is not a good thing when you're already a defense that gives up an ungodly amount of points. But then Tampa Bay is also beat up. So maybe Tampa Bay is a sneaky defense to attack this week.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
mean, yeah, I I wish I could subscribe to all these, but the Jaguars last week went against the Texans offensive line that was missing 4 out of 5 linemen,
True.
and they're missing their top 2 cornerbacks and their top linebacker, and we got demolished. So
Yeah. Well, there's a
miracles
reason we
happen.
talk about the specific injuries of players and not try to wrap it up too much.
I was
So,
so hopeful.
well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, I mean, that pretty much does it with the injuries. We knocked this out.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
don't.
don't think it was a crazy week at
So
all.
maybe it is Eric that gets us sidetracked because the past 2 or 3 weeks when it was me and him, they were all like an hour long. So Eric, when you listen to this, because of course you will, know it's your fault. Well, Richmond, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I
Any
mean, I
sneaky
think
plays this week?
I don't think so. Like I was saying to you guys earlier, I got done with patients today and meant to set my lineups. So I left Derek Montgomery out and just hot off the presses as of this moment, Derek Montgomery has 17 points on my bench in the first
Ooh.
half. So I'm getting texts from my
Oh,
people in
oh,
that league saying,
oh, breaking news. Breaking news. Packers tight end Luke Musgrave is being evaluated for a concussion right now in the Thursday night game. This is a next man up first that we get to talk about a live injury, which we really don't have much to cover. He's probably going to miss this game. You just got to pay attention to the practice reports next week. But,
yeah,
you know,
he will not be back in the game. I can say that for a fact.
yeah, anytime they pretty much say you're being evaluated for a concussion, you're
Yeah,
probably being pulled for the concussion.
yeah. And judging by the score of this game, I think he'll be okay with sitting the rest out.
Yeah. You would think that doesn't play a role, but speaking as an athletic trainer on the sideline, it definitely does play a role a little bit. Not with concussions. Like, I want to make that clear. Anytime
Yeah,
it's a concussion, that's automatic. We're trying to get you out of the game.
yeah,
But maybe it's a minor ankle sprain and you're down 40 points. Well, okay, maybe we're not taping this up and seeing if we can go.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
little insight right there. Hopefully no moms listen to this no moms at the school I work at listen to this podcast and report me. I don't see how that would get me in trouble too much, but you never know. People are weird.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I do know.
I think you'll be safe.
I do know a couple of my athletes apparently are going to start listening. I was telling them about it the other day, so that'll be fun if they actually do. So, well, that's enough of this. Richmond, where can people find you?
So my Twitter handle that I'm most active on is RP Laterio DPT. Right down this little guy right here. And as I said in previous season, it's a mix of physical therapy. I'm also a collegiate track coach, so it's a lot of track stuff going on there. But I do share some physical therapy stuff, not as much fantasy stuff. I'll share the show and some things related to that. But if you're interested in sports medicine kind of dealings and you want to support my track team, Virginia Wesleyan University, go ahead and give me a follow.
Richmond is a great follow on Twitter. So, speaking of which, you can find me at Fantasy Ferret on Twitter. I pretty much keep it strictly fantasy football related and pretty much mute anyone that talks about politics, NBA, any other nonsense.
The politics and the NBA, they're the same.
They're no-go zone. I don't want to see that on my NFL
You
feed.
want nothing of Dame Lillard and Giannis teaming up.
Yeah, don't care. So, at least on that account. But anyway, and also I think I forgot to mention this, but we were brought to you by Gridiron Ratings. So check that website out. There's a lot of good stuff over there. Some other podcasts to check out that I'm sure are a lot funnier and more knowledgeable about the actual ins and outs of fantasy football than we are. But that is why we talk the injuries. So
Yes.
without further ado, adios.